לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ותהילה. לה 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 לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו בדרכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לה 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 לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לה 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 לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and once again, welcome to our home as we begin our celebration of this Shabbat with our Kehillah Kedoshah, our holy community. Well, we started on a wonderful moment of joy singing Lecha Dodi together, but as I'm sure most of you know, this Shabbat, which comes at the conclusion of Lag BaOmer, a joyous minor festival on the Jewish calendar, sadly is tinged with great sadness, with the news from Israel of 45 innocent lives who were lost at the traditional Lag BaOmer festival on the foot of Mount Meron, along with over 150 others who were injured. It's one of the most tragic events of this kind in Israel in recent history. Mount Meron is the traditional burial place of Shimon Bar Yochai, a 4th century sage, who is revered for his role in sustaining Torah study in his time in defiance of Roman rule. His yahrzeit coincides with Lag BaOmer, which is why there is this annual pilgrimage to this sacred site. It was a very unfortunate event that no one could have predicted. So many people coming together and singing and dancing in a moment of joy. And even when we look at it and we don't see ourselves so much because the vast majority of the people who were there were ultra-Orthodox, still we do see ourselves because they are a part of our people, a part of the Jewish people. We mourn together with the people of Israel and with Jews all around the world. May the families touched by this tragedy find comfort, and may they be strengthened by their faith and by the expressions of love and support that have poured in from world leaders far and wide, and all who have expressed sympathy. May their memory indeed be a blessing. You know, we talk about so often how sadness and joy often come back to back and sometimes even seem mixed together. We celebrate a bar mitzvah, but we remember the Holocaust, twinning our students with children who didn't live to have their own bar or bat mitzvah. It's an essential part of our history to find that balance if we can. And even in the face of tragedy and sadness, for us to look forward and to continue on, to celebrate our holidays, to perpetuate our values. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. Long before we heard of this tragedy, we had a joyous service planned, and we decided not to change the service, but to continue on in the spirit of Shabbat, and also touching a little bit upon Lag BaOmer and its meaning. So we continue now on page 2 as we sing a song that, while it's not a Lag BaOmer song, there is a connection, because on Lag BaOmer we have this connection to nature. We go out, we make bonfires, we go on hikes. In Israel, this is what they do. And so we're going to sing this beautiful song, Adamah, which means earth.
A repeat. So repeat after me. Adamah,
Adamah,
v'shamayim,
v'shamayim,
chom ha'esh,
chom ha'esh,
tzlil hamayim.
tzlil
Together.
hamayim. Ani margish
zot begufi, beruchi v'nishmati. Love the earth,
love the earth,
love the sky,
love the sky,
heat of fire,
heat of fire,
drop of water,
drop of water.
I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey ya, hey, hey ya, 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 hey ya. Adamah,
Adamah,
v'shamayim,
v'shamayim,
chom ha'esh,
chom ha'esh,
tzlil hamayim,
tzlil hamayim.
ani margish zot beruchi, beruchi v'nishmati. Love the earth,
Love the earth,
love the sky,
love the sky,
heat of fire,
heat of fire,
drop of water,
drop of water.
I can feel it in my body, in my spirit, in my soul. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho. Hey ya, 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 ho.
We have a family lined up to light candles for us this evening, the Spagnola family, and they're lighting this evening in memory of Captain Richard Plath, a relative for whom their son Liam is named. Spagnolas, take it away.
And 1, 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Wee.
I want to see it again.
Nothing could be cuter than that. Thank you, Paul and Tara and Liam and Kira, the youngest one there, who is one of our preschool students, and I think you might have noticed that she knows every word and did it with such spirit. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And now we continue on page 3, and I invite you to rise either physically or in your heart as we continue with the call to worship the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyam balayla, forever mipnei choshech. Becomes day, day turns to night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. V'ahavta et Adonai
Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
So we're here in our yard with this bonfire in celebration of Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the counting of the Omer. It's a minor holiday in Jewish tradition. It occurs during this period of time from the second eve of Passover until Shavuot, which is 49 days and counting. And this holiday has both an agricultural and a historical and a theological basis to it. It begins with agriculture, and it was the grain harvest, and an omer is a sheaf of wheat. And we recognize this time as the moment from the Exodus, a moment of our liberation, until the giving of Torah on Mount Sinai, for our liberation was not complete until we received the Torah, and at that moment we became a free people and a nation. So this is a semi-time of mourning in the traditional Jewish world with a lot of different explanations, but basically it's tied to that period of time where the Romans were suppressing our people at about the time of the destruction of the temple, and they were resisting Roman rule. And either it was a plague that subsided on this day, the 33rd day of the Omer, or perhaps an important military victory. But it was a time when throughout history Jews didn't get a haircut, they couldn't get married or have another celebration except for on this day. Today it's a great celebration in Israel. Israelis, both secular and religious, go out into nature, go on hikes, and make bonfires, symbolizing the light of Torah. And we can do it here with the smoke and enjoy us more.
Some more, and this is perfectly browning, so it's going to be yummy. Are you going to shave your beard off?
No, I'm not.
You've got my favorite, a piece of
This
chocolate.
is how you do it.
Here you go. Piece of chocolate.
I want some more. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
That's pretty.
Yum. Now, in case you were wondering, now you know why we have up on our mantle here the makings of a s'more with the Hershey's chocolate and the graham crackers and the marshmallows. And we had a lot of fun doing that segment yesterday in celebration of Lag BaOmer. Now we continue on page 5 with Micha Mocha. La 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 la.
We're on page 5.
May we find shelter underneath God's Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzedenu, uvoenu, l'chaim u'shalom, ve'ata ve'adolam.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom,
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Malkeinu l'chaim.
We continue on page 6 as we invite you to rise either physically or in your heart, and we chant together the Amidah.
Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Svatai Tiftach, Anananananana Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Svatai Tiftach, Anananananana Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula livnei b'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah Rav le'hoshia, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir hasurim, Umekayim emunato lishanei afar. Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman nata lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah Selah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated.
Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atah hu melech Adon V'chol hashalom. Ki atah hu melech Adon V'chol hashalom. Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Take a few quiet moments now as we invite each of us to turn inward to our own hearts and our own minds to pray the prayers that come not from the written page of a Siddur, but from inside our own hearts. Tefillat Halev, the prayer of the heart.
Elohai Netzor Leshoni Meira. Oh my God, watch over me. Take the hurt away from how I speak. Only love flows from you. May every word I speak be true. Elohai Netzor Leshoni Meira. Elohai Netzor Leshoni Meira. When words are thrown, I'll hold my tongue and breathe the air of songs I've sung. That refrain I'll repeat. There's more to you than only me. Elohai Netzor Leshoni Meira. Elohai Netzor Leshoni Meira. Usvatai medaber mirma. Velim klalai nafshi tidam. Venafshi ke'afar lakol Hi na na, hi na na na. Hi na na, hi na na na. Hi na na, hi na na na. Hi na na, hi na na na.
Wednesday, June the 9th, 2032. That's my day. According to the death clock, a site I came across on the internet, that's how much life I have left before my demise. This bizarre little website is subtitled "The Internet's Friendly Reminder That Life is Slipping Away Second by Second." It's an ominous reminder that life is ticking away even as we speak. The site goes on to say, like the hourglass of the net, the death clock will remind you just how short life is. That sounds pretty depressing, doesn't it? Wednesday, June the 9th, 2032. I was hoping I had more time than that. So how does the webmaster of deathclock.com know this? It's really quite simple. When you go to the website, you type in a few bits of personal information about yourself, such as gender, birth date, and body fat ratio. The site even shows you how to figure this out. You then click a little button at the bottom of the screen and presto, you know exactly how much time you have left. At least according to the site. Oh yeah, there's one other pertinent piece of information that's relevant to determining your lifespan. The site asks if you are optimistic, pessimistic, sadistic, or a normal person. Evidently, attitude counts. When I typed in that I was normal, we can discuss that later, my death day came up as June 9th, 2032, but when I typed optimistic, boom, I immediately added an extra 13 years to my life. My official date of death, at least according to the website now, changed to July 16th, 2054. Whew. I was more than a bit relieved. To drive home the finite nature of life, the death clock also tells you how many seconds you have left. My first listing was 1,047,939,669 seconds as of 10:32 yesterday morning. That sounds a lot better than June 9th, 2032. But as you watch the death clock, the seconds quickly disappear, one by one, like grains of sand in an hourglass. Does this sound depressing? I'm not telling you all this to upset you, I promise, but to make a point. We all know that we have each been given a limited amount of time on earth, some more, some less. As a result, we know that with every passing minute and second, an opportunity to do good acts, to make a difference in the world, or just to have a new experience, is lost forever. The death clock then is not so much about death as it is about the urgency with which we live our lives each and every day. Among the mitzvot in Amor, our parsha, our Torah portion this week, is the practice of counting the Omer. It offers us a seasonal lesson in the preciousness of time. The Torah commands us to count the days from the second night of Passover until the eve of Shavuot. Originally an agricultural observance, the 7 weeks between Passover and Shavuot were a critical time in the life of a Jewish farmer in the land of Israel. They marked the transition from the beginning of the barley harvest to the festival of the first fruits, from the end of the rainy season until the coming of summer. In later generations, the counting of the Omer was associated with the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, which the sages say took place on Shavuot. Israel, the people that is, were commanded to count the days between liberation and revelation in order to heighten the people's anticipation of this sacred moment in history. Just as a child can't wait until his or her birthday, and a student counts the days until summer break, our ancestors counted the days from their liberation from slavery until they encountered God at Mount Sinai. Although we no longer bring an offering of barley to the temple as our ancestors did, we still count the 7 weeks leading up to Shavuot. And we do so as a way of focusing on self-improvement by challenging ourselves to think about what's really important in life. Because the Torah doesn't just tell us to count. It says, Usfartem lachem. You shall count the days for yourself. This extra word, lachem, for yourself, is it really necessary? For whom else are we going to count if not for ourselves? So what does the word lachem add to our understanding of the mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer, of the counting of the Omer? Well, some time ago there was an article in the Times business section about Eugene O'Kelly, a successful businessman, who discovered that he had an inoperable brain tumor. Rather than despairing and giving up on life, Mr. O'Kelly set out to look more carefully at how he should live life with the short time he had left. O'Kelly was a good corporate leader and a businessman who encouraged others to take time off and to take care of themselves, but he didn't follow his own advice. After spending years running a corporation and traveling almost 150,000 miles annually, O'Kelly had to learn how to slow down, how to live in the present. It wasn't easy. He kept a journal of that last year of his life, which was published, entitled Chasing the Daylight: How My Forthcoming Death Transformed My Life. O'Kelly wrote about his struggle to live in the present. He said, I needed to stop living 2 months, a week, and even a few hours ahead. I felt that if I could learn to stay in the present moment, to be fully conscious of my surroundings, I would buy myself lots of time that was never available to me, not in all the years when I was healthy. Isn't it ironic that it took a life-threatening, terminal disease and an awareness of limited time for Mr. O'Kelly to realize that the only moments that count are the ones that we are in right now? That is what we learn from Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer. We say, Usvartem lachem, count the days for yourself. Don't spend time obsessing about where you're going or what's the final goal. There are no due days. Count each day. Make the days to mimot. Make them whole. Let us use each moment to the best of our abilities so that when they are gone, we have no regrets or sorrow. No one reaches the end of life to say, I wish I had spent more time in the office. Let us use each day in a way that has meaning and makes a difference in the world. If we can do that, then eventually we will find ourselves standing at the foot of our own Mount Sinai. We will find ourselves reflecting sparks of godliness, bringing light into our lives and into the world. June 9th, 2032. That may or may not be my final moment. No one knows for sure, not even the death clock. I'll take that later date 13 years later, please. The only thing that I can know with any certainty is where I am right now. I can't change the past, and it often doesn't help to worry about the future. But I can embrace the present and strive to live every moment to make it count. That's the meaning of that well-known psalm. Teach us to number our days, that we might attain a heart of wisdom. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will. Amen.
Amen. And I will say, I expect you to live to 2060.
Okay.
So
Have you been sitting there calculating?
let's just be clear about that.
Okay.
Okay. On the record.
You heard it. Let us say Misha Berach and wish for healing and long life for those who are on our Misha Berach list, the people we love and care about and who we need to support with our calls and our visits and our prayers for refuah shlema, for a full and speedy healing. Diane Dakin, Samantha Porteous, Craig Corin, Sally Glick, Randy Watkins, Betty Morgan, Ron and Margaret Ray, Gabrielle Lopez Smith, Ira Abramson, Bradley Cantor, Jackie Burke, Danny Reichman, Rebecca Williams, Pert Carlson, Ricardo Holbrook, Heidi Kranz, Philip Blair, Leslie Hirschfield, Christina Vogel, Vivian Culver, Marvin Primack, Stephen Bonacor, Lou Israels, Scott Neistat, Doralee Saxon, Jonathan Kelly, Lois Meyer, Micah Tarchi, Boaz Abramson, Susan Boivy, Gail Brody Bronstein, Barry Klein, Rebecca Nassanow, Tara Crane, Victor Altman, Amy Weiss, Zachary Lind, Judy Platt, Wendy Obata, and Malka Chadnick Moya. We invite you to add to the names mentioned aloud friends and family who you'd like to say the Misha Barak for this evening. Hold them in your heart, say them aloud, share them in the chat. Let us join together.
We're on page 8.
In Misha Barak.
Misha Barak Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Beira Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We add to those names mentioned aloud and to the names that you shared at home, all of us who are in need for these same blessings of refuat nefesh and refuat haguf, for healing of mind and body and spirit.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, O God, who heals the sick.
We continue with a prayer for our country and for the state of Israel.
Guardian of life and liberty, grant blessings to our country. Grant our leaders patience and wisdom.
May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and may we never be lazy in the work of peace. Eternal God, grant blessings to the state of Israel. Protect her people, shelter them with peace, and grant them deliverance from the violence that surrounds them.
May they live in harmony with one another and with their neighbors. May the bonds of faith and faith that unite the Jews of all lands be a source of strength and blessing to each of us and to all the world.
And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were free to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. But stories will be told of us when we are here no more. We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own the vision. We are an answer to a call. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach. It's time to live our praise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we stand ready to recite Mourner's Kaddish, we begin by remembering, paying homage to the 45 innocent souls who lost their lives at Mount Meron in the north of Israel in the tragic incident yesterday at the Lag BaOmer festival. May their memories be for a blessing. We remember as well these loved ones who are in the Shloshim, the 30-day period, or the Shana, the 1-year period of mourning. Buzz Chain, Martin Coleman, Annette Adamson, Sophia Boysa, Jeanette Saphir, Mort Cohen, David Boivy, Luz and Israel Teicher, David Fortis, Fernand Morrison, Patricia Ventura, Harriet Berg, Janet Bullard, Bruce Soretsky, Saul Chadnick, Susanna Lopez, Skip Evie, Harry Harris, Shirley Bretcher, Judith Cothran, Evan Stein, Marcia Davidson, Adiel Fischler, Charlotte Constant, and Barbara Navarrete. We remember as well these loved ones who have a yahrzeit sometime in the week ahead. Edith Klein, Jack Bass, Samuel Ferdman, Miriam Gluskin, Edward Weiss, Evelyn Freeman, Beatrice Miller, Nettie Bramer, Ernst Meyer, Horanato Zapanta, Ethel Gold, Betty Kopman, Judith Brent, Eva Goldman, Joan Schoenfeld, and Lillian Nell. May their memories be for a blessing and a never-ending source of strength. We invite you, of course, to say aloud or to hold in your heart the name of someone whose name we haven't mentioned, or please feel free to share it in the chat. We remember as well all those who have died of COVID-19 and the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust, leaving no one to remember them. We take them into our hearts along with our own loved ones who have died, and we rise and join together now in Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. B'yom divra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon. U'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran b'yalma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'ramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort to all the bereaved among us. And let us say, Amen.
We want to thank again the Spagnola family for doing the candle lighting. If you got on a little bit late and missed it, you need to go back. It just makes you smile.
It was wonderful.
Thank you to Steve Schermerhorn, Beth Sanders, and Donna Smith for this week's beautiful instrumental music. Happy birthday this week to Sheldon Barr, Sharon Berg, and also Sharon Mazel Tov to your daughter Sky for getting her master's degree.
Mazel Tov.
Yes, and happy birthday to Monty Merrill. Mazel Tov to Abby Bell, who became the Assistant Director of Early Childhood Education at Temple Isaiah in Lafayette. We love all the happy news.
How nice we're getting those simchas in.
It's nice.
You know, we don't always know that someone has a simcha, and please, we invite you to send us a text, and we'd be more than happy to share it with the Kehillah.
We love that. Just an announcement, Temple Israel's cemetery is going to be closed to visitors May 3rd through the 24th as improvements are being made. So just know that. And thank you to Karma for preparing our Siddur for this service, and to Ari for being behind the scenes and helping with our bonfire video. And also
singing awesome harmonies.
Also great harmonies. So that's all I have to say.
Let's join together on page 11, our concluding prayer, Ein Keloheinu.
And thank you all for joining us.
For the week is, and I think it connects very nicely to Sfirat HaOmer and to the message of my sermon this evening. The thought is, what do you spend too much time doing? Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful week.
Shabbat and a wonderful and safe week ahead.
We hope to see you soon.
Thanks for joining us.
Adonaios le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonaios le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Shalom. Shalom. Adonaios le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonaios le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Shalom. Shalom. Adonaios le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonaios le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Shalom. Shalom.